Well, the agitation is continuing over fuel prices. Exactly what's accounting for this and how could government deal with this? Let's bring in now Benjamin Amponsah Mensah, who's an energy expert joining us from the United States. Thank you for your time here on The Pulse. So let's start off with the demand, first of all, from service providers. The transport unions are, of course, mounting pressure now, asking government to try and intervene, else prices will go up. If government is to deal with their concerns, where do we start from?
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Yes. Yeah. First of all, I'm based in Canada instead of United States. Anyway, yeah, I believe at this point, what the government really needs, is to be able to get a secured supply, of fuel. I mean, if we do have, a reliable refinery, then, the government could be able to secure a reliable source of
Sorry for cutting
crude.
through on that. The point is, the president has made it clear that he was looking for a cheaper source of energy. That's not yielding any positive results. The pressure is still mounting. We're just wondering where exactly government could get that from on the market.
Well, basically, on the world market, what the government could do is that, they could hedge. You're supposed to be able to hedge with a reliable refinery, in overseas. In that case, based on the price of crude on the market, then the government could, agree at that time the prevailing price on the market, and then sign, a long-term deal with the refinery. And in that case, even though if the prices of, the crude oil goes up or down, you are always secured, and, you'll be able to get, your, reliable source of fuel. That is the only measure right now. That's the only measure that the government can rely upon at this point. There's no other option, on the world market.
What do you say to this opinion? There's the point that regardless of the arguments you make as experts, the challenge remains one and only, the issue about liquidity, which government is seriously in need of right now. So no matter the arguments you make, austerity is the way to go to try and get some bailouts from the IMF. That would entirely solve our problem. Is it that simplistic?
Well, I think always going back to IMF has been, I think, the normal route, for developed, developing countries like Ghana. But I think sometimes we also have to, just like you mentioned, austerity supposed to be probably the first option for us. I remember writing up an opinion upon our fuel consumption. We consume about 64,000 barrels of refined oil every day. And it's in today's price is $6 million per day that we are burning on our roads. But if the government would come up with austerity measures like reduce speed limits, if we can reduce speed limits and then conserve some energy on our roads, we will be able to get control of our fuel prices. But I think the government is not looking at austerity measures like that. Apart from that, imported vehicles. Recently the car manufacturers have been able to come up with very efficient fuel consumption vehicles. So if the government could even reduce the years of vehicles that are being imported into the country.
Yeah, Mr. Mensah, I just wanted to pick up on the point you're making earlier about the reducing the speed limits. Are you talking literally, or perhaps you're referring to something else?
No, I'm talking about literally, like reducing our speed, because of course of course the faster you drive, the more fuel you consume, you burn more fuel to speed up. So what I'm saying is that let's reduce the same thing in the US. That's what some time ago they did, when in the 70s there was an embargo by the OPEC countries against, to stop supplying the US with crude oil. That's what the US Congress, they were forced to do. They had to reduce speed on their highways.
This is interesting. It's a point we've never had in our discourse. Reducing speed limits. Many will say, I buy my car, I drive my car the way I want it, right?
Well, you still, if you want to, it's not everybody that is able, to, afford the fuel prices. You might be probably have, the means to buy the fuel, but as people are crying, the masses are crying, at the moment for the fuel prices, it's all, it affects people's pockets. So you cannot just be selfish and say, okay, well, you have the means, especially maybe people like, the MPs who probably get fuel, I don't know, they get free fuel, to fill their vehicles. And so probably they can speed up, at whatever speed that they want. But it is affecting the overall price of fuel. Of course, if the more you consume, the more, the demand, on the market. But if we can reduce, our fuel consumption, we'll be able to get control and, stabilize the fuel price. That's what it is. You can't just say that, you have the means. So, too bad for the rest of the people.
Right. Anyway, we're beginning to lose count on how far we could go. 17.99, yeah. 23 for diesel. That's the last counts. But no one knows how worse it could get. Yeah. What's your outlook? And I keep asking that question to every single aspect I come across.
Well, at the moment, OPEC Plus, with their alliance, they are very, very, very committed to keep the prices high. Okay, even though the global economy is really slowing down, with especially China still with their zero COVID, measures in place. The world economy is slowing down, but the OPEC and the alliances are, very, very adamant and committed to keep fuel prices up. Okay, so I don't see fuel prices coming down anytime soon. So that's why, for me, the government will have to hedge. They have to hedge the supply of the petroleum of fuel into the country. They will have to hedge it, so that we are not affected much about the fluctuations in the market. The issue with that is that unless the government issue a guarantee for the supply, I think the central banks or the banks the banks in Ghana do not have that means to be able to guarantee the hedging of fuel into the country. There was one company, Drum Oil, who was able to secure a deal to be able to bring fuel. To be able to hedge fuel for the country. But that deal was, in the last minute, it came apart because of a report that I think Deloitte, produced, and it went against that deal. So right now the outlook, just as I've mentioned, it doesn't look, good. It's the OPEC and especially Russia. Russia at the moment, because of the sanctions by the West, they have production, they have reduced, their output, and so they want to keep the prices up so that, they can still rake in a high price and revenue. So that is, I'm sorry that, I couldn't give any positive outlook, but that is what is happening on the oil market.
All right then, and we're grateful. Benjamin Amponsah Mensah is an energy analyst joining us from Canada. We're grateful for your time. You're watching The Pulse on the JoyNews channel. When we return, we're talking about a dome praise. We're doing a build-up.